Hi, Sheeta.
Hi, Shay.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. How was your week?
It was good. It went by very quickly, and the weekend even quicker. But
Well,
yeah,
you're
it's
good.
been good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right. As a pharmacist,
Mhm.
how exactly does taking medication, does it show a lack of faith, or is it simply just using the wisdom God has given us units?
Wow, that's a very, very good question, and I feel like it's a question that obviously happens or comes up a lot in the faith community.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of related to this age-long debate of science versus God, right? It's
Okay.
like is science anti-God? But I think that science is an expression of the wisdom of God, right? Like there's nothing that has been discovered that wasn't found on Earth.
True.
There's nothing that has been created that didn't use materials on Earth already. And we know that the Bible says that the Earth is the Lord's, right? So we know that everything comes from God, whether it's used for good or not, it's still from God. And I would say that's the same thing with medications. A lot of medications have natural sources,
Okay.
even though it may not be herbs, it may be synthesized in a lab, but still,
Okay.
it's inspired by natural sources or is gotten directly from natural sources. So that's something I would say. And I think that the reason why people ask that question is because of, I would say, it speaks more about trust, right? So it's not that you use the medication, it's more like, do you trust in the medication to heal you, right? I think that's where the problem is, because honestly, there's no medication that's 100%.
True.
Right? And at the end of the day, God is the one that determines everything, right? The Bible says that, a horse is prepared for battle, but victory is from the Lord. So you can see it that way, like, yes, I'm using this medication. Yes, there's evidence, right? Because these medications go through a rigorous process before they are, approved. Yes, they have side effects, but a lot of them majority of them are beneficial, right? So just knowing that, yes, this medication works, there's evidence for it. But at the end of the day, I have to put my trust in God, that God will use this medication to heal me. So that's what I think, and I don't think it should ever be a debate. I remember I was listening to a sermon recently, and I think the preacher was talking about how another preacher was saying that he would have Tylenol in hand, like when his child was having a headache, he would have Tylenol and he would pray, and if it didn't go after an hour, he would just give the child Tylenol, right? Because at the end of the day, it's God's wisdom, and of course there's divine healing. I'm not going to even doubt that there is divine healing, but if God decides, there's also healing through medication, right? There's medications that also cure you or treat the problem or whatnot. So yeah, that's my take.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Still in the line of work, what do you do when your personal convictions and professional responsibility collide, like in the area of abortion pills now?
Ooh, spicy. You have really some spicy question.
Sorry about that.
Okay, when like faith versus work and what is expected. So for me, I have to always remind myself of my first identity, which is a child of God, right? I'm going to retire one day. I'm not always going to be a pharmacist.
True.
But I'm never going to, by the grace of God, retire from being a child of God. So that one comes first. And thankfully, I feel like where we are in this part of the world, they're very understanding of that, where some people's faith kind of contradicts what is professionally recommended or allowed. So as you said, in the case of abortion, I know that I don't agree with it personally. I mean, at first I was kind of like conflicted when I started working, like, is this really a big deal? No. But at some point I was like, you know what, like, I genuinely don't agree with this, and I don't think I want to be part of this in any way. But just to kind of like make sure I'm being professionally is it appropriate? I don't know the right word to use, but making sure I'm actually caring for the patient. I'm supposed to send them to somebody who can care for them and is okay with that. And so that's where I stand. I don't do it personally, but somebody else can help you out. Yeah, because of my faith. Exactly, you still need help. And obviously not judging them or any of those things. It's just more like, this is about me, and I get to make this decision for myself.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that answer. Finally, what does it look like being the light of the world, salt of the earth, behind the pharmacy counter? How exactly do you share your light?
God is helping me. I can't really say. Some days the light is not shining. Some days I'm just like, God, have mercy.
Oh my goodness.
Something I'm learning. I don't think obviously there's no perfect person.
True.
But sometimes I try and hold compassion in my hand.
Okay.
I think that's something that's very important. Like being very compassionate towards people that I'm, patients that come through. Of course, some seasons are very hard, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's been a long day. Some patients are not very friendly, like different things. But I try to do that. I try to remain calm. I know that's something my manager kind of mentioned, like, oh, you're very calm during like when it gets a bit crazy. I do try just so that that's also like Jesus was calm in the storm, so a little bit of that. But I don't think it's any different from any job. Whatever job you're doing, you're meant to be light of the world, salt of the earth. So, yeah.
So who you are doesn't necessarily change when you get to work.
No, yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, you have to make sure that like you are shining there. You make sure you're conscious of the fact that you are a child of God. Right, so like even little things like not being involved in office gossip, treating people well, right? Not, just making sure you stand out because that's who we are supposed to be.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Lastly, has there been any personal experience that you feel like God has been merciful to you or gracious to you that you feel like someone can learn from?
My whole life, God has been very gracious to me. Yeah, I think God, I don't know, it's just grace, honestly. Nothing, I can't really say it was anything I did or whatnot. I think God introducing himself to me was probably the most gracious thing I could have done. And obviously I'm not a perfect Christian. I have had many ups and downs, but to know that I have actually encountered him in some way, like, and this is like when I was in secondary school, long time ago, right? And that experience shaped a lot about my life. And yeah, so that's generic, very like, I'm not giving any specific examples, but yeah, I would say that for me, I like, something that gives me great comfort is that I've gotten to experience God. Yeah, I've gotten to experience him.
And then that experience has been continuous, I guess.
Yes. Like getting to know him, the kind of peace, it kind of transforms you.
True.
Like it just changes you from the inside out, right? Like, yeah, I've had times where it was like really intense.
Okay.
And then times where it's just like, oh, we're just being Christians. But there are times where it's like, whoa, I have entered into a new, and I mean that should be everyday experience, obviously, and that's because that's my own limitations, right? On my own invitation. But yeah, those times I'm like, wow, it is wonderful to know God. He's so personal. I think that's the best part. Like, it's not just doing or achieving. It's not even really becoming. Becoming happens as a byproduct. It's just more like you actually get to spend time with him. You get to see who you are through his eyes and also the world through his eyes. And yeah, it's been a huge blessing. I was gonna say I don't think I'll be who I am, but I know for a fact, like I am flawed, of course, many issues, but just knowing that the way God sees me, is the best way anybody can see me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'll see you around.
All right, see you around. Have a good week. Yay.
Adios.